The following presentation is best experienced with headphones.
Hello, honored guests, and welcome back. It's great to see you again. Oh, sorry for the confusion. I do look and sound different, don't I? Don't worry, though. Deep down, it is still the same Nemo of no consequence standing in front of you. If you will follow me, I will explain as we make our way to the circle. Due to our unique nature and our close association with the House of Branching Paths, it is not unusual for us residents of the house to change in appearance. We are, after all, servants of the house, and so we shift and change to suit the house's needs at any given time. With the addition of new members of the circle and you all visiting so often, it seems the house wanted a more laid-back and familiar butler than my stodgy traditional appearance from before. You will also find that Nan has changed a bit. She is much more real now than when you saw her last. She has also asked to resume her job of leading you all out of the house, which does allow the other residents to focus on their own tasks. But enough about that. We have arrived at the garden. I leave you now with the circle.
Ah, they are here again at last.
Welcome, honored guests.
Yes, welcome back, honored guests. We're so excited to see you.
I hope you're all safe in your travels this past winter.
Speaking of travels, have we heard anything from Asteria of late?
Yes, just this morning, Rookery received a letter from her. She has apparently joined up with a few other realm travelers and is searching for the mythic valley of Shangri-La and the fabled halls of Xanadu found therein.
Ah, you've been there before, have you not, Emrys?
I have indeed.
Well then, couldn't you show them the way?
Alas, I cannot. As with so many things in life, one must find their own way to that idyllic place, if the journey, or indeed the place itself, is to have any meaning at all.
I'm still confused as to why she left so soon after arriving here and becoming part of the circle.
This place is a home, not a prison, and members of the circle have always come and gone as they wished.
Yes, before it was just the two of us, Morgana was often away and traveling the waters of the many realms. She made a good deal of friends, many of whom are powerful enchantresses or sorceresses in their own right.
And I do miss them so. Perhaps now I can visit with them again. And you know, even Emrys here, the current keeper of the Skaldric Flame, gets it into his head to go off and mentor some young king or soon-to-be hero.
If journeying away from this place is not unusual, why were you both so worried that the other circle members wouldn't return?
Even when they aren't here around the circle, most of the members would keep in touch, but we hadn't heard from anyone in a very long time, even by our standards. Not to mention, the house itself had begun to diminish, and its residents had begun to fade, leaving only room for Emrys and myself. We worried something had happened to all the other members, and we were alone.
If the other members of the circle are anything like the two of you, then I have trouble thinking of what could happen to them that they couldn't handle.
Oh, you flatter us, traveler, but even if they were as capable as you give us credit for, our members are as varied as the realms themselves.
Indeed, and even Morgana, myself, and those like us are not truly eternal. We had many siblings, several of whom witnessed the first kindling of the Skaldric Flame right alongside us, who have now been lost to us, passing out of all human knowledge and beyond the reach of even the farthest realms.
But let's not dwell on such melancholy topics today. I think the flames are calling to us.
Hello, everyone! I just finished with my deliveries for today. I haven't missed the story, have I?
Oh, no, you just made it.
Yes, I think I see the crackle of a story on those flames, my friends. one that may take several meetings to tell. The fire burns bright, with stories ever knowing.
What a delightful realm. I can't wait to visit it.
You're here just in time, too, Nan. This story comes from a novel by Kenneth Grahame.
First published in the year 1908.
The Wind in the Willows.
Off we go, honored guests, down under the ground.
The mole had been working very hard spring cleaning his little home.
First with brooms,
Then with dusters, then on ladders and steps and chairs.
With a brush and a pail of whitewash, the mole thought to himself,
Oh, I've dust in my throat and splashes of whitewash all over my fur and an aching back.
Suddenly, Mole flung down his brush on the floor and said,
Bother! Hang the spring cleaning.
and bolted out of the house,
he scraped
and scratched and scrabbled and
And
scrooged,
then I scrooged again.
and scrabbled and scratched and scraped,
Up we go,
till at last,
pop!
his snout came out into the sunlight, and he found himself rolling in the warm grass of a great meadow.
This is fine. This is better than whitewashing.
The mole meandered along, happy to be far away from spring cleaning, when suddenly he stood by the edge of a river.
Oh, I've never seen a river before.
The mole sat down by the riverside and watched the water.
All was a shake and a shiver.
Glints and gleams and sparkles, rustle and swirl, chatter and bubbles.
The mole was so happy watching the water, he only took time to look up for a moment. But in that moment,
He saw a face.
I thought I saw a furry little face with whiskers.
It was the water rat. The two animals stood and regarded each other cautiously. The rat began to say,
Hello, Mole.
and the mole quickly said,
Hello, rat.
Would you like to come over?
the mole watched as the rat stepped into a little boat,
it was painted blue outside and white within.
and it was just the size for two animals.
Oh, I would.
Now then, step lively.
This has been a wonderful day. Do you know I've never been on a boat in all of my life?
What? Never been in... You never? Well, What have you been doing then?
Is it so nice as all that?
Nice. It's the only thing. Believe me, my young friend. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as simply messing about in boats.
The mole watched the sparkle,
The ripple,
the scents, and the sounds and the sunlight.
Mole then asked suddenly,
I beg your pardon. You must think me very rude, but this is all so new to me. So this is a river.
The river.
And you really live by the river? What a jolly life.
By it, and with it, and on it, and in it, it's brother and sister to me. And aunts, and company, and food and drink, and, naturally, washing. It's my world, and I don't want any other.
But is it a bit dull at times? Just you and the river and no one to pass a word with?
No one else to. Well, I mustn't be hard on you. You're new to it, and of course you don't know. The bank is so crowded nowadays that many people are moving away altogether.
What lies over there?
asked the mole, waving a paw towards a background of woodland that darkly framed the water.
That? Oh, that's just the Wild Wood.
The Wild Wood.
We don't go there very much, we riverbankers.
Aren't they very nice people in there?
Well, let me see. The squirrels are all right, and the rabbits, well, some of them, but rabbits are a mixed lot. And then there's Badger, of course. He lives right in the heart of it. Dear old Badger.
And beyond the wild woods again?
Beyond the Wild Wood comes the wide world. I've never been there, and I'm not going. Nor you either. If you've got any senses at all. Now then, here's our backwater at last, where we're going to lunch.
Rat carefully docked the little boat and helped Mole to the shore.
Rat brought a picnic basket ashore with them and opened it up before Mole.
Now, pitch in, old fellow.
And they began to eat and enjoy lunch together. After a moment, Mole asked,
Isn't that something bubbling there?
Mole noticed the water rippling just a little before them.
Oh, no worries. That's just otter.
Just then, a playful otter swam up to shore to greet her old friend Rat.
The otter said,
How now? Ratty, save any lunch for me?
Always, my friend. Here, Otter, meet Mole.
How do you do? Wonderful day on the river?
I am loving the river. You are so lucky to live here.
Is anyone else on the river today, Otter?
Toad's out for one, definitely, in his brand new wager boat. New togs, new everything.
Oh, yes, Mole. You'll meet Toad one day. I'll make sure of it.
Toad always has a new hobby. Once it was nothing but sailing. Then he tired of that and took up houseboating. And we all had to go and stay with him in his houseboat and pretend we liked it. He was going to spend the rest of his life in a houseboat. It's all the same, whatever he takes up. He gets tired of it and starts on something fresh.
Yes, that's the way for old Toad.
My, I do want to meet Toad one day.
Surely you will. Well, dear Otter, Molly and I must be going on.
Of course. See you both again soon.
Goodbye.
As Rat and Mole said goodbye, they finished their lunch and packed everything back up into the small boat.
As they went along once more, Mole began to feel like he wanted to try rowing the boat.
Ratty, please, I want to row now.
Oh, not yet, my young friend. Wait till you've had a few lessons. It's not as easy as it looks.
The Mole was quiet for a minute or two, but his pride began to whisper.
You could do it every bit as well.
And he jumped up and seized the skulls.
I flung the skulls back and made a great dig at the water.
But he missed the surface altogether.
His legs flew up above his head, and the next moment...
Sploosh! Over went the boat, and he found himself struggling in the river.
Oh my, how cold the water was, and oh, how very wet it felt. Then a firm paw gripped me by the back of my neck. It was the rat, and he was laughing. I could feel him laughing right down his arm and through his paw.
The rat propelled Mole to shore, hauled him out, and set him down on the bank.
Ratty, my generous friend, I'm so very sorry indeed for my foolish and ungrateful conduct. Will you overlook it this once and forgive me, and let things go on as they were before?
Oh, that's all right, bless you. What's a little wet to a water rat? I'm more in water than out of it most days. Don't you think about it anymore. And look here, I think you had better come up and stop with me for a little time. And I'll teach you to row and to swim, and you'll soon be as handy on the water as any of us.
The Mole was so touched by his kind manner of speaking that he could find no voice to answer him, and he had to brush away a tear or two with the back of his paw.
The rat took that to mean yes, and took them both home. The rat made a bright fire in the parlor, and planted the Mole in an armchair in front of it, and told him river stories till supper time.
That summer, the Mole learned to swim and to row, and entered into the joy of living by the river with his new friend.
The two new friends continued on together, until one day Mole asked suddenly,
Ratty, won't you take me to call on Mr. Toad? I've heard so much about him, and I do want to make his acquaintance.
Well, certainly. Get out the boat and we'll paddle up there at once. It's never the wrong time to call on Toad. Early or late, he's always the same fellow.
He must be a very nice animal,
observed the Mole, as he got into the boat and took the sculls,
while the rat settled himself comfortably in the stern.
He is indeed the best of animals. So simple, so good-natured, and so affectionate. Perhaps he's not very clever. We all can't be geniuses, and it may be that he is both boastful and conceited. But he has some great qualities, has Toady.
Rounding a bend in the river, they came in sight of a handsome,
dignified
old house of mellowed red brick, with well-kept lawns reaching down to the water's edge.
There's Toad Hall. And that creek on the left, where the notice board says private, no landing allowed, leads to his boathouse, where we'll leave the boat. Toad is rather rich, you know.
I can see.
I understand now. Boating is played out. Toad's tired of it and done with it. I wonder what new fad he has taken up now. Come along, and let's look him up. We shall hear all about it quite soon enough.
The two friends soon found Toad, whom they presently happened upon resting in a wicker garden chair.
He had a preoccupied expression of face and a large map spread out on his knees. When Toad saw the others, he cried,
Hooray! This is splendid. Come inside. Have something. You don't know how lucky it is you're turning up just now.
Let's sit quiet a bit, Toady.
You are the very animals I wanted. You've got to help me. It's most important.
It's about your rowing, I suppose.
Oh, pooh, boating. I've given that up long ago. Sheer waste of time, that's what it is. No, I've discovered the real thing. The only genuine occupation for a lifetime. Come with me.
Toad took the two friends to a carriage house that held a caravan,
shining with newness,
painted a canary yellow,
picked out with green
and
red wheels.
There's real life for you embodied in that little cart. The open road, the dusty highway, the heath, the common, the hedgerows, the rolling downs. And mind, this is the very finest cart of its sort that was ever built, without any exception. Come inside and look at the arrangements. Planned 'em all myself, I did. You'll find that nothing whatever has been forgotten when we make our start this afternoon.
I beg your pardon, but did I overhear you say something about we and start and this afternoon?
Now, you dear good old ratty, don't begin talking in that stiff and sniffy sort of way, because you know you've got to come. I can't possibly manage without you, so please consider it settled.
I'm not coming, and that's flat.
Somehow, it soon seemed taken for granted by all three of them that the trip was a settled thing.
And the rat, after many pleas from Toad, allowed his good nature to override his personal objections.
And their journey began. They traveled in the new carriage late in the evening until they drew upon a remote common, far from habitations, and ate their simple supper sitting on the grass by the side of the cart.
Well, good night, you fellows. This is the real life for a gentleman.
The friends continued their days like this, with Mole mesmerized by the new sights, and Rat thinking about going back to the river.
But the rat would see his beloved river sooner than suspected.
They were strolling along the high road easily, the Mole by the horse's head, the Toad and the Water Rat walking behind the cart talking together.
What is that?
Far behind them, they heard a faint, warning hum, like the drone of a distant bee. Glancing back, they saw a small cloud of dust,
with a dark center of energy,
advancing on them at incredible speed. As the object drew closer, they had a moment's glimpse of a magnificent motor car. It made a sound, something similar to a
poop.
As Toad saw this motor car pass, he became entranced and began saying,
Glorious, stirring sight, the poetry of motion, the real way to travel, the only way to travel, here today, in next week, tomorrow. Villages skipped, towns and cities jumped, always somebody else's horizon. Oh, bliss, oh, poop, 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 poop.
What will you do with him?
Nothing at all, because there is really nothing to be done. You see, I know him from old. He's now possessed. He has a new craze, and it always takes him that way, in the first stage. He'll continue like that for days now.
Should we leave Toad like this?
For Toad was sitting by the road, watching after the motor car, murmuring the popping sounds the car had made and shivering at the anticipation of owning one himself.
Never mind him. Let's go and see what there is to be done about the cart.
For the cart had been knocked cleanly over by the wind and dust from the motor car. Mole and Rat made reservations for Toad in the town nearby.
Then they got out their boat from the boathouse and sculled down the river home. The following evening, the Mole was sitting on the bank fishing when the Rat, who had been looking up his friends and gossiping, came strolling along to find him.
Heard the news?
What news?
There's nothing else being talked about. All along the riverbank. Toad went up to town by an early train this morning, and he had ordered a large, very expensive motor car.
The two friends continued their days as they had before, until the Mole realized he had wanted to make the acquaintance of the Badger.
But whenever the Mole mentioned his wish to the Water Rat, he always found himself put off.
It's all right. Badger'll turn up someday or other. He's always turning up, and I'll introduce you, the best of fellows.
Couldn't you ask him here, dinner or something?
He wouldn't come. Badger hates society and invitations and dinner and all that sort of thing.
Well, then, supposing we go and call on him.
Oh, I'm sure he wouldn't like that at all. He's so very shy, and he'd be sure to be offended. I'm sure he'll come along one day.
But the badger never came along, and the mole had a good deal of spare time on his hands.
And so one afternoon, when the rat sat in his armchair before the blaze, nodding off every now and again, Mole formed the resolution to go out by himself and explore
The Wild Woods.
and perhaps strike up an acquaintance with Mr. Badger.
It was a cold, still afternoon as he pushed on towards the wild wood. There was nothing to alarm him at first entry.
But the day went to night.
Everything was very still.
Then the faces began. It was over his shoulder that he first thought he saw a face, looking out at him from a hole. When he turned and confronted it, the thing had vanished.
I quickened my pace, passing another hole and another and another, and then...
In panic!
I began to run!
Poor Mole ran up against things. He fell over things.
And into things.
He darted under things.
And dodged round things. At last he took refuge in the deep, dark hollow of an old beech tree.
I laid there and listened to the whistlings and patterings outside, and I finally knew the dread thing which other little dwellers had encountered here. That thing which Rat had vainly tried to shield me from.
The terror of the wild wood.
Meantime, the rat, warm and comfortable, dozed by the fireside.
Finally he woke and looked around for the mole to ask him a question, but the mole was not there. Then he called,
Moley!
And receiving no answer, got up and went out into the hall.
The mole's cap was missing from its accustomed peg. His galoshes, which always lay by the umbrella stand, were also gone.
The rat left the house and carefully examined the muddy surface on the ground outside, hoping to find the mole's tracks.
They were there. I could see the imprints of them in the mud, running along straight into the wild wood.
The rat stood in deep thought for a minute or two. Then he re-entered the house, strapped a belt around his waist, shoved a brace of pistols into it, and set off for the wild wood at a smart pace.
Rat plunged without hesitation into the wood, looking anxiously on either side for any sign of his friend.
Moley! 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 Where are you? It's me! It's the rat!
He had patiently hunted through the woods for an hour or more, when at last, to his joy, he heard a little answering cry.
Ratty, is that really you?
The rat followed the cries and crept into the tree it came from, and there he found the mole, exhausted and still trembling.
Oh, Rat, I've been so frightened you can't think.
Oh, I quite understand. Now, then, we really must pull ourselves together and make start for home while there's still a little light left.
Rat went to the entrance of the tree once more and exclaimed,
Hello, hello, here is a go.
What's up, Ratty?
Snow is up, or rather, down. It's snowing hard.
The mole came and crouched beside him, and, looking out, saw the wood that had been so dreadful to him in a quite changed aspect.
Holes,
hollows,
pools,
pitfalls,
and other menaces to the wayfarer were vanishing fast, and a gleaming carpet of fairy was springing up everywhere that looked too delicate to be trodden upon by rough feet.
Well, it can't be helped. We must make a start and take our chance, I suppose. The worst of it, I don't exactly know where we are. And now the snow is making everything look so very different.
It did indeed. The mole would not have known that it was the same wood. However, they set out bravely and took the line that seemed most promising.
An hour or two later,
they had lost all count of time.
They were continuing along when suddenly the mole tripped up and fell forward on his face with a squeal.
Oh, my leg! Oh, my poor shin!
Poor old mole. You don't seem to be having much luck today, do you? Let's have a look at that leg. Yes, you've cut your shin, sure enough. Wait till I get my handkerchief, and I'll tie it right up for you.
I must have tripped over a hidden branch or a stump.
Oh, my, oh, my. It's a very clean cut. That was never done by a branch or a stump. Looks as if it was made by a sharp edge of something metal. Funny.
He pondered a while and examined the humps and slopes that surrounded them.
After carefully tying up the leg with his handkerchief, Rat had left Mole and was busy scraping in the snow.
He scratched and shoveled and explored all 4 legs, working busily, while the Mole waited. Suddenly the Rat cried,
"Hooray!"
What have you found, Ratty?
A door scraper.
Well, what of it?
But Rat set to work again and made the snow fly in all directions around him.
After some further toil, his efforts were rewarded, and a very shabby doormat lay exposed to the view.
There. What did I tell you?
Absolutely nothing whatever.
Do you mean to say that this doormat doesn't tell you anything?
Really, Rat, I think I've had enough of this folly. Whoever heard of a doormat telling anyone anything?
The Rat attacked a snowbank beside them, digging with fury. After some 10 minutes' hard work, Rat struck something that sounded hollow.
In the side of what had seemed to be a snowbank stood a solid-looking little door, painted a dark green. An iron bell pole hung by the side, and below it, on a small brass plate, neatly engraved in square capital letters, they could all read by the aid of moonlight,
Mr. Badger.
Rat, you're a wonder, a real wonder, that's what you are. I see it all now.
Get up at once and hang on that bell pull you see there, and ring hard as you can while I knock.
While the Rat attacked the door with his knocks,
the Mole sprang up at the bell pull, clutched it, and swung there.
Both my feet were well off the ground.
And from quite a long way off, they could faintly hear a deep-toned bell respond.
The end.
Don't worry, honored guests. We'll be back beside the warm fire any moment. Hold tight now, and here we go!
Oh my, I do hope Mr. Badger can come to their rescue before they freeze.
With luck, we shan't have long to wait before we find out.
Life on the riverbank sounds so relaxing.
I am a little worried about Mr. Toad, though.
I'm just glad I made it for the story. It really has become the highlight of my week, joining you and telling them.
And we have been delighted to have you here.
I just wish we could tell another story to them.
Perhaps you can help me with this poem that I came across while perusing my book this morning.
Oh, this is an interesting one by Eleanor Wiley.
Published as part of her first book, Nets to Catch the Wind, in 1921.
The Eagle and the Mole.
Avoid the reeking herd. Shun the polluted flock. Live like that stoic bird, the eagle of the rock.
The huddled warmth of crowds begets and fosters hate.
He keeps above the clouds, his cliff inviolate. When flocks are folded warm, and herds to shelter run, he sails above the storm, he stares into the sun.
If in the eagle's track your sinews cannot leap,
avoid the lathered pack, turn from the steaming sheep. If you would keep your soul from spotted sight or sound, live like the velvet mole, go burrow underground.
And there hold intercourse with roots of trees and stones, with
rivers at their source and disembodied bones. The end. I am not sure that I fully agree with the themes of solitude in this poem, but something about that does call to me.
It certainly does make solitude seem noble.
There's definitely a lot that can be talked about here.
Unfortunately, my friends, that will have to wait.
Yes, I see the crackle of a story on those flames, but for next time.
The fire burns low, with stories ever knowing. Safe travels, honored guests.
We hope to see you all again real soon.
Yeah, don't be a stranger. Send us a message every now and then.
Follow me, honored guests, for you mustn't stay at our house for too long. I'm so glad to be able to escort you on your way out of the house once more. Don't get me wrong, getting to visit and be an ambassador to the story realms is wonderful, but I did miss getting to spend this time with you. Now we're almost out, my guests, so remember to stay close and don't answer any voices you may hear on the way out. Oh, but do come back. Hearing the circle's stories brings me to life.
You have been listening to The House of Branching Paths, a theatrical podcast experience brought to you by Round 2 Productions, created by Mark Kilmer and Caroline Miller, with featured artists Kimmy Kidd, Bill Blanky, April Sita, Justin Panachia Shimza, Jamie Chandler, George Doerr, Joshua Towers, and Katie Bailey, with music by Elegy. For even more content, join us on our Patreon, or for more stories like these, be sure to visit your local library. Thank you for joining us, honored guests, and remember, the fire may burn low, but the stories are ever glowing.